kind of just been pushing our gatherings with that in mind, with like our original goal in mind, trying to like throw like the best possible event and try to like just elevate the like tricking gathering scene in America specifically.
What's up, guys? Today's guest is a martial arts tricker and the co-founder of Vertigo Tricking. Please welcome to the JAMCast, Mr. Mikael Mantis. What's up, man?
What's up, Travis? Happy to be here. Thanks for inviting me out.
Appreciate it, man.
Inviting me to call.
How was the name pronunciation?
Spot on. You killed it.
I feel like your name is one of the most elusive names in tricking, besides James West's last name.
Yeah. I've heard a lot of different things. Most people get it wrong. It's always a surprise when people say it right, like the first time. But I get a lot of Michaels, Miguels, Mikhails. I don't know. You just hear all sorts of things. Michael's the most common one, though.
I could imagine. And is your name, is it from like a specific origin or background, or is it just the way that your parents phonetically spelled it?
Yeah, I mean, there's kind of a whole story with it. Named after my grandfather. My dad's Greek. And so, like, the way they pronounced it, even though his name was spelled Michael, they still pronounced it like Mikael. And then I think the spelling itself is, like, Scandinavian. And, like, my parents wanted to, like, pay homage to my grandfather. Like, yeah, I think my mom just liked the spelling better than Michael as well.
Super cool, man. Well, no, like I said before I started, that's one question I always ask people is, like, how do I pronounce your name so I don't embarrass myself directly in front of you? So glad we nailed it.
Oh, yeah. Thanks. Yeah, I always appreciate when people ask that first instead of like just guessing as well. Yeah.
100%, man. And now, obviously, what's something that's kind of unique about it, and I'm sure we'll delve into it over the course of talking right now, and maybe we'll just get the answer now, which is where are you currently located? Because I feel like you are now currently in a different city than what people most commonly know you for within tricking.
Yeah. I'm in San Jose, California. I moved here about 3 months ago. Kind of been all over the place. I used to be in the DMV, and then I went to college in Philly, and then, just recently moved over to California.
Okay. And what was the reason behind the move? Is it a work-based decision or just lifestyle choice?
Yeah, it's a bunch of different things. Like, wanted a new job, wanted to move with my girlfriend. We were doing long distance. Just wanted to be in California in general, like nicer weather, better food. Yeah. Overall, like a lot more tricking going on here too. Although, I'm sure we'll get to this later. Like where we're hosting Vertigo, like it's been really blowing up. So there's a little bit of FOMO, not tricking there anymore.
I can imagine, man. And does that mean that right now, because you are in San Jose, does that allow you to integrate yourself into the loop kicks and like Northern California tricking scene right now? Oh yeah, definitely. I live like less than 10 minutes away from the loop kicks gym, so I'm there like pretty much as much as I can. Like any day that I can go, I'm there. Yeah. Okay. And now obviously we kind of just alluded to it, but where are you originally from? I guess where are you originally from before all these moves took place? Yeah, so I was born and raised in Virginia, so DMV tricker. Yes. So a little bit south of DC. And what generation were you in the DMV trickers? Like, who were you training with, I guess? You know what I'm saying? It's a good question. Yeah, I was training with... So when I first started, I was kind of training by myself. I didn't know, like, the DMV trickers existed until, like, Epic Gathering. And then from there, I started tricking with... Like, when I was tricking with them, it was, like, JL, Will, Conies, Javier, Mo Alafrangi, Travis Parker, like, before he moved out to California. Those are like the big names I remember. There's this guy like Mo Waraki that like before I like knew other trickers, he was like the best tricker I'd ever met before. Like he was like doing all these crazy things. Who else was there? There were a few people my age. Ross. I trained with Ross a lot in high school. So I don't know where that puts me, but like generation wise, I'm not really sure who was before them. I know like Arnold Chan was in Virginia before. Technically speaking, like I guess he would be part of the first gen, but I feel like most people associate the next gen with like the DMV YMCA trickers. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So I guess like I was like second gen for YMCA because I know they're actually I've never seen footage of this myself, but there was like a blue floor there. I've heard of this. I've heard of that. Yeah. Before the red floor.
Yeah, when I went, it was the red floor. Now it's actually now it's purple floor, and like sadly, we're not like I was talking to Will about this like earlier this year, but like he's not even sure like if it's going to open up again. Yeah, that place is a spot. A lot of good memories. That's where I met like my original like tricking family. It's an amazing location.
Crazy, man. And so what was your original introduction to tricking, and how'd you get into it back in the days?
Yeah, so I started like Taekwondo when I was 5.
Okay.
I like kept telling my parents like I really wanted to be a ninja, and like there was a ATA school that opened literally like 5 minutes from my house, and so they opened that up. I took classes or took some like free classes. Really fell in love with it, and then from there, I eventually like joined the demo team.
Okay.
And like was doing like like XMA like demo stuff, learning how to like do, I don't know how old I was, but I was like learning how to do like 540 and aerial and like working on B twist for a while, but not really knowing like what tricking was and not really like doing with the intention of tricks, and like eventually like I would always watch like a lot of videos of like really old school like NASCAR guys like John Valera, Carmichael Simon, like Chad, like those were like the guys like my instructor would show me. And then eventually I found Steve Tirada, and like I saw like one of like his like compilations, and then just pure tricking, no forms, and like that really like changed the game for me. And I was like, oh shoot, like I don't need to do forms, like I can just do the tricks. And like it wasn't until a couple years like into when I started like competing and like doing XMA, that I actually started like going to open gyms and like trying tricks by themselves. So that was like maybe 2008-ish.
Okay.
Yeah.
And how old were you at that point when you started, I guess, formally tricking, you know?
I want to say I was like 12.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's pretty crazy.
It's a little blurry like back then, because like just doing martial arts, and then eventually it just like, I think like that was like the cutoff point where it was like distinctly, all right, I'm tricking now. I'm not just doing like extreme martial arts.
And so at that point, when you obviously stumbled upon tricking, it's also at kind of like a unique time where I feel like a lot of us reach, those teenage years where we either decide to push through with being a martial artist during high school, or you choose to just kind of walk away and focus on team sports. So were you one of those that continued with the martial arts and tricking, or what happened to you at that age?
Yeah, I did a bunch of different things. So like I kept pushing martial arts. I kept competing like within the ATA. But then I also like kept pushing tricking. But then when I got to high school, I decided to do track. Like, I don't know why I did track, but like I had a lot of fun with it. And then I just was kind of doing like 3 different things like all throughout high school, and like trying to like just push myself in all those different aspects. And then even in college, like I was also like, dancing. And then it wasn't until after college I'm like, all right, now I'm just going to do tricking. Yeah.
Super cool, man. And so in those like pivotal years in the beginning, obviously when you're at your martial arts school, you're probably training at like dojang mats and stuff like that. And eventually you transition over to the YMCA. How many hours a week were you training back in the days there? And was it based on open gym schedules, or did you put in a lot of time outside of the dojo too?
Yeah, it was, oh gosh, I can't recall like how much I was in the dojang training, but in terms of like YMCA, it was like, every open session was 2 open sessions a week, 2 hours each open session, depending who was running it. Like if it was like Will running it, like sometimes in the earlier days we used to be able to go until like midnight, and like my dad would stay with me and he'd just like sleep at the gym, and then eventually like I'd have to like wake him up. But so yeah, I don't know how many hours, maybe like ballparks. I also went to like some gyms by myself, so maybe like 6 to 8 hours a week by myself. I don't know. And then I also like would train in grass like around my house as a kid. Yeah.
And what formal rank did you get up to in ATA?
Yeah, so I got my 4th degree. I got my 4th degree black belt in the ATA.
Okay.
But I got it like within like during my freshman year of college. So like I tested for it, and then I haven't. It's embarrassing to say, like I haven't learned the form. Like I did learn it, and like I don't remember it. Like I haven't really like kept up with it. So in a way, I'm like, it's like I have the 4th degree, but like, am I really a 4th degree black belt? Like, yeah.
Still an accomplishment to be proud of. 3 is not too bad. Oh yeah. And so obviously with that Taekwondo background, it obviously leads me to a logical question, which I'm sure I'm going to answer myself right here. But is that what led to your emphasis on vertical axis kicks? Is it something that came more natural as a result of Taekwondo, or was that just a conscious decision over the course of years of training?
I definitely think it was like something that came more natural. I think a lot of like the earlier tricks I was trying, like even before like I knew what tricking was like the kick based stuff. Like I was doing like pop 720 like before I was like doing 540. Like the very like traditional like OG style, like
OG pop,
forward,
gather
OG
step.
Pop, yeah, the gather step. Like that was like one of the first things I learned, and like when I did that, I was like, oh, this is so cool. Like, and I just kept doing it, right? And then a lot of it was like, oh, how many spins could I do? But it's funny, like I didn't. My first few years of tricking, like I was more balanced. Like I found footage from like 2011 very recently where I was like doing corks and like T7 twists. And I was like, oh my gosh, like what the heck? Like, what happened? When did I start like focusing on vert kicks? And I think like a big thing that happened was like, I was just like competing, and like, because I was competing, a lot of the tricks I would do would be for like forms, and like also like doing track, like, I never wanted to get injured. And I do remember having like a pretty scary fall with corks. And for a while, like, because I was doing other sports, like I wanted to just focus on the tricks that like came easy, and like I didn't want to hurt myself. And so, yeah, that just led to like me pushing like the vert kicks more and more, because like it just came more naturally to me.
That's definitely one of the coolest things about tricking, though, inherently, is that that's what leads to people developing their own style, is either, personal choices, avoiding of injury, catering to your own body type, and obviously your martial arts background. So what is the maximum number of vertical spins you have accomplished? And let's approach it from a two-part question: backside takeoff and then cheat takeoff.
Okay. So backside takeoff, I've done, if we're going to go like mainstream terminology, like backside 16, right? So that's true kicking terminology. That's a 1260
True
round.
12, yeah, exactly.
Right. Cheat 14 is the most I've done.
Okay.
I've tried cheat 16. That just maybe one day. It's not yet. But front side, like, so like the OG like gather step, I've done pop 14.
Okay.
And so I think that ends up still being like a 1260, but it's like a 1260 hook. So it is different than the backside 16.
And as someone that focused on vertical kicks like that, were there certain people that you grew up influenced by or grew up watching, in addition to like those early Steve videos?
Yeah. I mean, the guys I was training with, like, they did a lot of pop kicks, like JL, Mo Alafrandu was doing like pop 10s a lot. I mean, even Will, like, Will's known for doing a lot of crazy things, but like, I think the DMV in general, and like it still is like very kick heavy. It's a very kick heavy community. There's like, in that area, there's a lot of Taekwondo schools. And so you see a lot of the trickers that are there, like, come from a martial arts background. So you see a lot of people like focusing on that. In terms of watching, I think like, so there's like Ingun. Yeah, definitely Ingun was like a big influence. Whenever, like, I don't remember what year it was, but he dropped like that kick gun sampler where he like landed his first Chi 12 in like the tiny dojo. That's like when I was like, oh shoot, Chi 12 is like possible. Like, I gotta land this. Who else? I remember Kang Vu, like he at a loop kicks battle, he tried like backside 14, and like that's when it hit me. I was like, whoa, like that's possible too. Like, I want to hit that as well. And then there's another guy like my age from Philly, Andrew Core. I guess he's like a year or two older than me. So he was someone I saw also like pushing like the backside, like standing backside kicks and like twisting really well. So I think those were all the people I like watched. It was never like really watching them to like try to imitate their like twisting style or anything, but it was more like inspiration, right? Being like, oh, like they can do this, like, oh shoot, like I should be able to try this as well. Like I think I could do it.
And how did you personally continue to increase your number of rotations on that vertical axis? Was it do you single spot when you do it, or do you go off muscle memory, or do you do like 3 and then a fourth? Like, what's your way of rotational degrees?
Yeah. So the way I progress is like I always go back to like the OG, like pop, like frontside pop, like gather step. And like, I try to like spot, like do like a single spot. And if it's 720, like I'll try to spot in between, and it's like practice spotting that way. So it's like just focusing on the spin, right? Just like spot, turn, spot, turn, spot, turn. My instructor, like, when doing like Taekwondo, like I remember he had us sort of doing like almost like ballet drills, right? Where we just like stand on one foot and like, I don't know what the proper dance term, right? But like you just stand there and you just whip your head around and you keep turning, right? And that's how I learned Pop 7. And I think that's just translated well into like the rest of my tricking progression. And then usually like once I get it from Pop, my mindset's always been like, okay, if I can do it from Pop, I'd probably do it from backside. And if I can do it from backside, I'd probably do it from cheat. And if I can do it from cheat, then like swing, wrap, the rest comes easy.
Okay. And now I don't know if you've even thought about this, and it's something that just crossed my brain, which is a lot of times when we talk to like a lot of high level twisters, I don't know if they do it subconsciously, but we kind of see it that a lot of them tend to cross their feet, or they almost, do this when they're doing corks and fulls. Do you do the same technique when you're doing vertical kicking, or is that something you even noticed or thought about?
I do. Okay. I do it. I used to not do it consciously, but I've noticed like the times where like especially like the higher level twists, the times that they're easy for me, it's when I like consciously like cross my feet, and like not just cross my feet. I used to have this issue where I'd like cross at my knees, and so like I'd be like twisting weird with like my legs out. But if I like cross my ankles and extend my legs, like that's when I twist like the fastest. So I do think about that. Yeah.
Oh, there you go, y'all. Secret tip. Heck yeah. And so, 2-part question here. Do you think there is a maximum number of rotations that we'll see in our lifetime? And if so, what is it? And then secondly, along the back end of that, because it kind of matters, what do you deem as a passable kick as we get to these higher levels of rotations? Because we start to get to this gray line where we start to see a lot of spins and some flicks of feet. And I'm just curious, from someone like yourself that's obviously known for vertical kicking, what you deem as counting as acceptable.
Yeah. That's a really good question. Okay. So the first one, like maximum number of spins, I mean, like maybe, okay, so like Pop 14, maybe like a true 1620. So like,
ooh, okay. 1800. Yeah. Okay.
Like if we're saying like from front side, like, so Pop 4 spins and a round kick, right? So that would be from backside. That would be like 19 something, I think, right? 1620, 1800. So 1980.
1980. Yeah.
Yeah, 1980. I think I'm saying this based off of like my own experience, because like when I do like Pop, the times I've done like been able to do like Pop 14, I'm like, I can't imagine spinning more. Like I'm just like holding it so tight, and at least maybe like if you start flipping it, right, like that might be the way like to like get more of a rotation. But at least for me, like the way I do it, and like I try to stay straight up like most of the time. Like I just can't imagine like fitting more spins. So I think like, someone could probably like add another half easily, or like another like maybe one more rotation. So maybe like whatever the 1980 plus 180 was, at 2160, maybe something like that.
Yeah, something like that. I'm not that good of an Asian, bro, at math. I'm way better at English. It's crazy. Okay. And then maybe, and then as far as we get to this higher echelon of rotational spins, we start to see some, I don't want to be negative, but I say we start to see some questionable landings as far as what people count as kicks. What do you deem as countable?
Yeah. So, I mean, I'm definitely guilty of like garbage kicks. With like my first backside 16, like was just like a leg flick, right? I was just happy to like finish the spin out and get my kick out. But now like I definitely like hold myself to a higher standard, and like I think as long as it's like waist level and like you're chambering your leg, I think that's a big difference. Like it's one thing to just like stick your leg out there, but if you have a chamber, right, and like chamber, extend, maybe rechamber, maybe not rechamber, but like if it looks like you're trying to kick instead of just like flailing your leg out there, then I think it should count.
Okay.
And at least waist level, right? Because like if it's below waist, then you're basically just doing the spin and like sticking your leg out.
Yeah.
But it's hard. It is hard, like when you're twisting that tight to like extend. And it's something like I try to fix as well. So.
And along the same lines of that, and I don't mean to bring up controversy, but these are questions I've always wanted to ask. Another thing that I feel like also gets brought up for debate on vertical axis kicks, especially at higher rotations, will be the amount of time someone can land on the 1 foot before they execute the kick. Does that make sense? Like, there's some guys that will like do 3 spins, land on a foot, and then throw their leg out, as opposed to guys that do 3 spins and you see them chambering before they actually touch down on the ground. Is there a preference?
That's not something I think about. Oh, sorry, you cut out.
Oh no, I just want to know: is there a preference in your own style, or like you said, you don't even think about that? I guess, right?
Yeah, that's not something I think about. I think I tend to like. Sometimes I do have an issue where I'm going for the kick before I finish the spin, so I definitely like fall into the category of like, or at least I think I fall into the category of like, kicking out before I land. And I have seen people. I've seen this on hurricane kicks a lot, where people will.
You know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, they like land. They do the third kick after they land, and so for me, like, yeah, sure, it's a hurricane kick, but I think people will know the difference. Whether or not it counts, like, I don't know. I don't like to. I used to care a lot of like, oh, this kick counts, but I'm like, people let people like trick the way they want, and like if it's easier for them to do it that way, it still looks good. Like, sure, but I think people tend to recognize like what's more legit and what's not, and so yeah, I don't know. Okay. I don't really. I guess that's my opinion on that topic.
Yeah, no, totally, it makes sense, man. And now, from someone that's able to execute, so many spins on a vertical axis, I do know one thing that you're able to achieve is you're able to successfully land triple fulls at a cartwheel in addition to scoot. Is that? Do you think you could add on additional twists to those on that axis because it allows you to, get your toes and your hips over your head and give you more time?
So for like you're saying like fulls and stuff?
Yeah, do you think you could go for quads just based on the number of rotations you could do on vert kicks?
Quad full has never like crossed. It's never really crossed my mind. But like I do think, I'm confident that like if I figure out how to set properly for anything, like I can rip as many twists as I want, right? Like I technically haven't done any like quad vert spins, right? I don't think anyone's done that actually.
Not
like true quads.
True. Yeah.
Not yet. I'm sure someone will. But yeah, like that was really like for triple full, like when I was trying that, like my issue was never the twist. It was just figuring out how to set properly and like flip properly. So yeah, I think it does like translate. The twisting definitely translates pretty well.
Okay.
Yeah. So yeah. I'm like still or I can't say I'm like recovering anymore from an injury, but like I'm still like trying to like get back to like where I was a couple years ago. So triple fulls like on like my goal to-do list right now, but maybe in a couple years I'll try quad.
Hell yeah. And along the lines of that, in regards to your injury, is that the one where you injured your LCL that you still are coming back from, or?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I tore my LCL like at Battle of Japan, 2019. Yeah. And that it's just been like a slow recovery. I mean, like other stuff's come up in life, but like I'm finally at a point where like I'm able to do the tricks that I want to do. Like I'd say like the past, it's September now. Yeah, so maybe like the past like 6 months, I've like been able to like really revamp the tricks, and like my knee doesn't stop me from tricking, but I do still feel it like, after session, like, or like several days after like a really hard session. So, yeah, it's still there, but I mean, I'm able to trick comfortably and not like feel like I'm pushing through it like while I'm tricking.
Okay. And now obviously with balancing work in addition to everything you have going on, how many days a week are you training nowadays?
Yeah, I'm training like at least like 2 to 3 days a week.
Okay.
I think I've hit like 4 in a week once. But really like, yeah, like I said, it's like as much as I want to do. So some days, like I just need days to recover, right? Like one of the best things about living here is like Loop Kicks like has open sessions every single day, right? So like I could train more, but it's like I'm also very conscious of like what my limits are and like when's a good day for me to train and like when I should just rest and like condition.
Hell yeah. Okay. Sounds good, man. And so off the back end of obviously your DMV origins and tricking, at what point did you decide to move to Philadelphia? And what was the reasoning behind that?
Yeah, so I mean, the reason was for college. So yeah, I got into college. Went to UPenn. I wanted to go to UPenn, like, because my I have an older sister, and she went to Penn as well. So even like when I was like training in the DMV, I went up to Philly a lot, and I really loved the city. I actually met Vince Johnson through through a Taekwondo tournament, and like my dad and I would like go up to train with him, like even after my sister left Philly. So I was visiting Philly a lot before I moved there, and I was like acquainted with martial posture, and so I was like, oh, like, I really want to go to college here. So moved to Philly 2014 for school. Graduated 2018, and then I just stayed like for another 3 years.
Sick. That's awesome, man. And now obviously, can you just explain to the people, we alluded to it at the top of your episode in your introduction, but can you just let people know what Vertigo Tricking is and what the foundations of that were?
Yeah, sure. Yeah. So Vertigo Tricking is the tricking, I guess, like organization that I founded with my friend Mike Com. We were originally based out of Philadelphia. So I guess a backstory, like with Mike and I, right? Like we met at a gathering, met at Trick Strong, I think 2016. Okay. And then like we both had like very similar style of tricking. And I was like, yo, dude, like, where are you from? Like, I've never met you before. Like, we should train together. He said he was from Jersey. I was like, yo, like, are you close to Philly? Like, gotta come through. And then he's like, I'm actually going to school in Philly. So he ended up going to Drexel, which is like right across the street from my school. And then, so once he moved to Philly, we started training together. And then I got him to join my dance team.
No way. Okay.
Yeah. So once we were on the dance team together, we were literally, we were spending time, like, if we weren't tricking, we were dancing, right? Like we had practice. And at one point, I think so we had like talked about like hosting a gathering, and then it wasn't until we were watching like the Hooked live stream, we were like, oh my gosh, like, that was so hype. I think it was like, it was 2017. So it was like Daisuke and Danny in like the finals. And we were just so pumped after that. And we were like, oh my gosh, like we should do this. Like there hasn't been a gathering in Philly in like 10 years. So like, or was it 10 years? No, 8 years. I think Trickadelphia, like 2011.
Oh, yeah. The old school Trickadelphia.
Yeah.
Danny Graham ones. Holy crap.
Yeah, that was actually my first gathering. Yeah, so I have very fond memories of Trickadelphia. It was like Trickadelphia and Epic. Whichever one of them came first that year were my first gatherings. But yeah, we just like there needs to be more of this. Like there needs to be more of this kind of hype in America. Like we got to try to do what like Hook does. And like, at the time that Jam hadn't had a gathering in a while. And we were just like, we want like a really like hype. We want to throw like a really hype battle gathering. And like, and then we just started talking to Ish Payne. We talked to like the owner of the other gym that we had, and like started reaching out to friends, and we're like, all right, this is happening. We put up a website, and we're like, all right, we're throwing this gathering. And then in terms of like the actual name, like Vertigo Tricking, we kind of just did like a play on words on like vert kicking, vert spinning, it makes you dizzy. Vert kicking, vertigo. Okay. So that's where that came from. And then we've kind of just been pushing our gatherings with that in mind, with like our original goal in mind, trying to like throw like the best possible event and try to like just elevate the like tricking gathering scene in America specifically.
Okay. And from an organizational standpoint, is it still you and Mike that are the heads of it?
Yeah. So it is still me and Mike. We do have like a couple of people that are going to be like our staff for the upcoming gathering, but we would like to like after post this like really like sit down and like think about what would a team Vertigo look like. It's just been tough. Like we both like work full-time jobs like outside of tricking, and it is in our planning stages, but so eventually like we'll expand and be more people, but right now it's mainly the two of us.
Okay. I know you guys had your first event back in 2018. So what number are we on right now heading into 2021's gathering?
So we're calling this Vertigo 3.
And you can explain why. Yeah, explain why.
Yeah, technically it's the 5th one. So originally we were going to do Vertigo 3 in 2020, right? And we did our third event and we called it 2.5 because, I mean, it was low effort compared to like the other ones, right? Like I think we had one guest, and it was just one night. It was one overnight session, and there weren't any battles. We had our thing called like the Vertigo game, so we introduced that at Vertigo 2, and like for 2.5, we were like, all right, it's just gonna be one night mini gathering. We're gonna use this to like build funds and like go really hard for Vertigo 3. The original Vertigo 3 date, like that got canceled because of COVID, and then this year we were like, let's try out this new gym, and so there's this gym in Jersey that Mike found, and like they've been growing their community like crazy there, and we wanted to like test that out for a future gathering, and so we held like 2.75. We didn't want to call it 3 yet because like it still wasn't the full gathering experience. It was only one day, like maybe like a 12-hour like mini gathering, right? But we had a lot of people come through. It was really exciting and showed a lot of promise for like what we can do for this one. But now after 2.5 and like 2.75, we're like, all right, now we can finally do 3. It's going to be like several days. People will be able to sleep over at the gym. We have a lot of guests, huge battles, still doing like the Verti games and whatnot. Yeah.
100%. And so far you guys have released a pretty solid guest list, guys from like Jimmy to Eduardo, Will Conies, Ethan Turner, Adam Davenport. Are there more guests coming out, or has everyone been announced already?
There are more guests coming out. There are a lot that we're actually, I'm trying to, we just announced Brandon Shore today.
Yeah, I saw that.
There are a handful that we still haven't announced yet, that we're really excited about. We just like locked in another guy like 2 days ago that was just like super last minute, but we saw he was in America, so I don't know when this is going to air, but I'll save that announcement for the Instagram. But we saw he's in America. We're like, yo, we gotta get him out here. Sick. Yeah, maybe you know who I'm talking.
I do. I think I do, based on I should know, right? Like where he's at in the world right now. So I should know. Okay, cool, man. And then with that being said, while you have the platform right now, and obviously we have the eyes and ears of so many trickers, lay out Vertigo 3 right now. What are the dates? When's it happening? What can people expect? And when should they sign up by?
Yeah, sure. Yeah. So Vertigo 3, it's going to be October 22nd to the 24th in East Brunswick, New Jersey. Register for tickets as soon as possible, right? That helps us like with planning because we're going to be providing food, like, dinner on Fridays. So it starts like 4 p.m. that Friday, and then we're going to do like breakfast, lunch, and dinner on Saturday, and then breakfast on Sunday. So yeah, register. Don't wait till the last minute. So that'll just help us with planning, and also tickets will be higher at the door. In terms of like how the gathering's actually going to run, right? We're going to have a couple seminars on Friday. Mike and I will be teaching a seminar and like doing sort of like a introductory opening ceremonies, icebreaker thing that we tried out at 2.75, but we want to do it at a larger scale, like really just like foster interaction with everyone that's present for at least the first day. We're going to have some seminars by Neil Toussaint for Trick Strong RX. Brandon Shireen's going to be teaching a seminar. Ethan Turner's going to be teaching a seminar on Saturday. Who else is teaching a seminar? I think Brendan Morrison. So I guess I'm kind of announcing some guests that we had.
I could put a bleep on that. I could bleep that out. Don't worry, Doug. I got you.
And then the other secret guest that I alluded to earlier, he's going to be teaching a seminar.
Cool.
On Saturday. So we have seminars Friday and Saturday. We'll also be doing our Verti games on Friday. So for those that aren't familiar with that, it's sort of it's like an all-inclusive event within the gathering where anyone can participate. We throw out these challenges, and it's sort of just like first person to like get each challenge is worth a point, and so it's like first person to get 10 points wins, or like first person like most amount of points within 2 hours, let's say. And like these challenges, they're mainly tricking based. We were inspired, like I'll be honest, we were inspired by King of the Floor, but we wanted to be like very like wholesome and like tricking oriented when doing it. And so like some of the stuff's like longest combo without any hook kicks, or best like best trick with like a blindfold on, or like best trick to like knock over a wave master. Like we had this one kid who like knocked over like a wave master with a cheat 10. I was not expecting that at all. It was insane. What else? A really funny one that I like is longest combo with saying like the names of the tricks out loud. Yeah, while you're doing it. So yeah, it's really funny, like just seeing people go at it and like hearing it at the same time. Yeah, so that'll be Friday night, and then Saturday we're doing the battles, and we're trying to go hard with the battle. I mean, we have a huge guest list coming, but we've gotten some sponsorship from like Kojo. He's really been like killing it. He's working with all of like the U.S. tour gatherings and like throwing little sponsorships here and there, but he's helping us do like a $500 prize pool for first place battles, and then we're going to be doing like $250 for second place, and then I think $100 for third place. Yeah, so we really want people to like push the battles, and then within the battles, within the night show, we're trying this new thing this year. We haven't announced it yet, but it's going to be called like the festival. So like festival with like the B, right? Mm-hmm. But we have a handful of like tricking DJs and also some like non-tricking DJs like that are going to be doing like a rotation and setting up lights and kind of just making the night show have a more like, I guess, like hype atmosphere, and like just really trying to like change or elevate the kind of music that's played like during a gathering. Mm-hmm. And like also just like, you know, a lot of people like have fun and like have another aspect to enjoy, right? And that's just going to be going on from like right when the night show starts to like as long as the DJs want to go and rotate. So we've got some like tricking DJs like Steve Rogers, so he's OG, Juan Shinobi, Nelson Zuniga, I think, or like Hideaway Beats, Brandon Daughtry, like so DJ Greed, yeah, right. I think he did the Jam night show, right? Yeah. Let's see, and then we have like some non-tricking DJs that are like just friends of ours, and they're like, hey, like, do you guys want to like come and like do this event with us? It'd be really cool to have you out. Yeah.
Okay. Sick. And then just to clarify, because I feel like a lot of people associate Vertigo with Philly and stuff like that, this year is being held in New Jersey, right? So people should fly into Newark Airport and
okay, exactly.
And
Newark's.
And are people staying at the gym, or are they finding their own housing? What's the situation this year?
Yeah, so people are allowed to stay at the gym. However, we're currently working with a hotel. It's not finalized yet, but there's a hotel like 5 minutes away that we're trying to get a discount on. So hopefully we have that locked down in the next week. But that'll be an option. Obviously, like whatever people are comfortable with. So if they're not comfortable staying in the gym, like there are hotels nearby. Those will be the accommodations.
Super, super sick. And now obviously, as someone that's thrown a few gatherings and is looking forward to trying to bring, you know, the best gathering experience possible, just in general, like what do you think contributes to making a gathering successful and something that people want to continue coming back to each year?
Yeah, I think one thing is like a big aspect of guests, like just from talking to like different people that have been to other gatherings, it's like not just having like well-known guests, but having guests that, will trick, right? Like you definitely, like I think that's a big key, like, right, like you definitely, like I've been to gatherings where there are guests there who, like, you know, like maybe they just haven't tricked in years and like they won't they're just there, right, and they won't do anything. But it's more hype to like, especially to like the kid, like the younger audience that we have. Like our gathering tends to have like, we have like a lot of teenagers that come, right, or at least I think they're teenagers. But they really enjoy like when it's like the people they've been watching on YouTube, like, and they get to see them or Instagram now, like seeing them in person and like seeing them go hard. And I think that really makes a big difference. I think another thing like I personally care about is like maintaining a schedule and like actually like following through with what we say we're going to do. Like, cause like, you know, it's hard, like, right. Like, when you have so many different things going on and you want to like provide a good experience, but then like sometimes like things get delayed and like, or like food gets delayed, and like I think just like being able to follow through with what you say you're going to commit to. What else makes a good gathering? I think food's always a plus. Yeah. If there's food involved, people are going to love that. Sleeping over, I found like isn't always necessary. At least like as I've gotten older, I've enjoyed sleeping over at gyms a lot less, but that's also another like key thing. I think, especially like the younger trickers, they love that. Yeah. And then good music definitely, like, and having a good music setup really like makes the night show, right?
Yes, 100%. 100. Okay, cool, man. And now obviously like one of the things that we were able to kind of talk about on the back end of this, and I don't want to make it all about this, so we'll just briefly touch on it. But Vertigo, is it technically part of the US Tricking Tour?
Yes, it's
Okay.
yeah.
And for those that don't know, and obviously, like I said, I don't want us to be the sole representatives talking about this right here, but do you want to just kind of give like a brief blurb on exactly what U.S. Tricking is and what the tour is and what we're trying to accomplish this fall?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, so U.S. Tricking, right? We are a group of, primarily gathering hosts, organizers. There's some other like non-gathering hosts involved, but we are basically a group of people that are invested in the tricking community. Like we like to host events, we like to put on certain things like for the tricking community, and we came together beginning of this year to discuss how can we like improve tricking for the country, right? What can we do to collaborate and really just like talk about like different things for the community, whether it's like coaching, gatherings, battles, right? And like so on a high level, it's like, it's like a discussion group. It's an organization to like talk about things like issues like gathering safety, right? Like just things that come up in like whatever people want to talk about. And then another aspect is this tour that we're doing. We're bringing back the U.S. Tricking Tour. I don't remember when was the last one, 2019? Probably.
So. Yeah.
Yeah, it has to be, right? Nothing happened in 2020. Yeah. But yeah, the tour is like another aspect of U.S. tricking, right? And another like tours have happened in the past, but that's sort of like a one-time like summer thing or like a yearly thing, right? Whereas we wanted like U.S. tricking to be something that will persist beyond just the tour and like figure out like how can we be a resource to helping like the U.S. tricking community grow, right? And so we're still building that out, and everyone should definitely check out the website if they have the time. But yeah, and like the tour is just like one aspect, and it comprises of like maybe like half of the actual like members of U.S. tricking.
Yeah, 100%. I definitely hope people take a look and go head over there. It's gotten a pretty good response so far. And I think the one thing to just keep in mind for everyone is that it's not meant to be like a judiciary system or some like overbearing organization that is, the regulatory body of tricking. If anything, it's just like a collective group of all of us that run gatherings who are just now in a thread together where we can collaborate and actually list all of our gatherings on one collective page. So Mark doesn't have to do it on the Loopkick site,
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Shout out to Mark, though. He's put in a lot of work before that.
Yeah, totally. And shout out to Mike also, who's been obviously a huge part of Vertigo, but Mike has been instrumental in helping getting U.S. tricking off the ground and holding weekly meetings and stuff. So
yeah, definitely 100%. Like Mike is the man.
100. And for those that don't know, the U.S. Tricking Tour itself, they have committed to having a guest lineup separate from the individual guests that will be invited to certain specific events. For those that don't know, I'll just name them off: Adam Davenport, Ethan Turner, Samuel Lincoln, Jacoby Burton, Brandon Sherwin, and Saul, obviously. So should be a good time for anyone that can make those events. Hopefully we'll see people throughout the remainder of the year. So
yeah.
And are you planning
to see you? Yeah.
I know, Doug. I'm trying not to jinx it right now, as you know. For those that don't know, Mikael was supposed to come down and do this JAMCast in person, and literally last minute I got called to fly to Cleveland, so we're gonna miss each other in passing this weekend again. So
busy man.
Just trying. And so, are you planning on making any other events this year, or will you just focus on Vertigo to finish out 2021?
I'm primarily focused on Vertigo. I do want to go to Euphoria.
Yes.
It's the home gathering, right? Like you're like the OG home gathering. But a big issue is like I got a new job a couple months ago, right? And like it's like I have to accrue my PTO, and right now like I have enough PTO for Vertigo, and then so it's like I don't know. It makes me sad to say out loud. Like I definitely have a lot of FOMO, and I really want to attend all the events. I think it's gonna be crazy, but right now I'm leaning towards Vertigo and then like Euphoria. But we'll see. Like NOLA gathering, I think it's gonna be really hype. Regeneration, like all of them. Yeah, like, they're all gonna be cool.
Okay. And now, obviously, we spoke about how you have the ability to go to Loopkick's open gyms quite often and stuff like that. But we also just got to hear about how the new career, and as we become adults, we don't necessarily get to go to as many gatherings as before. Are you starting to see the transition into, I guess, quote unquote, adult life where you are starting to trick a little bit less?
Yeah, not necessarily trick less. I think the only reason, like I've been working for about 3 years, so I guess I've been like living that adult life. But the main reason like I've tricked less has been like my injury. I do think having like the full-time job does make it harder to like go to gatherings because like, the weekends are my time to like do stuff like, with my girlfriend, or like go on vacation, right? And like, because like, like time off, it's like, you can't always like, just go everywhere, like travel to a different place in the weekend. I mean, at least with my job.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah. So that is like a cost, but I've been very fortunate in being able to train like as much as I want, even before like this new job. I was actually able to go to a lot of gatherings with my first job out of college. So yeah, maybe in a year or so that'll change with this one. Once I think like with my current company, like after a year, I tend to get a lot more vacation. So
okay,
we'll see.
Just gotta stick it out.
Yeah, exactly.
Hell yeah. No, that's super cool, man. And now obviously along the lines of that, you've been involved in tricking for quite some time. And for people like that and like myself that have gotten to see this evolution of the sport, one thing that I always like to talk about is how basically when we started tricking, there wasn't even a scene in Japan necessarily. And now you could kind of argue that Japan is developing into its own mecca of tricking, separate from San Jose was back in the day, and things like that. So, who do you watch currently? Like, do you stay up to date with everything that's going on in the world?
Oh yeah,
okay,
definitely, yeah. I have to, right? Like, especially like, I'm not battling right now, but like I love to battle, and like if I want to battle, I gotta know who's like on top, and like yeah. So like Shosei, Zen, definitely watch them a lot. Tiki's probably like my favorite tricker to watch right now.
Okay.
Ethan Turner, Levi. I watch a lot of Sam Lincoln. Who else do I watch right now? Honestly, anyone that like shows up on Instagram. James West.
Yes.
Watch him a lot. Andrew Court. Yeah. So all the heavy hitters, like all the like really big guys right now.
Okay.
Yeah.
Hell yeah. And I always ask this also for people that have been in the game for so long. What do you think about the current state of tricking, and where do you think we're going? I think we're at a kind of a unique time in the sport. And let me just like divulge my opinion, because I don't think I've ever fully said this, but I didn't necessarily think that there were going to be this many moves to be landed and executed by people like Shosei. I'm not going to lie. I did not expect this many variations of double flips, or quote unquote these off-axis double flips and stuff like that. So I honestly think tricking is a little beyond what I ever imagined it would be when I first started, So I'm just curious, like, where do you think the state of the sport's at right now?
Yeah, I mean, it's incredible, right? Like double fold, double leg is like something Shosei did recently. Like what? Like double, like up until
double leg.
What is it? Yeah, up until like last year, right? It wasn't double leg. Like that was also just like not heard of. Like people have done double side flip, but not really double leg.
Hans had tried it famously and fallen, but no one had ever landed it. Yeah,
right. And then to see like him do like a double fold, then double leg, it's like I have no idea where it's going, right? And that it's crazy. It's beautiful to watch. I think tricking's just only grown, and it's been tremendous to see it go from like when I first started, like triple cork like had like just been landed, right? Or like when I first like got on the scene, like triple cork had just been landed, like cheat 12 wasn't a thing, and now it's like you got like there's like 3 people that can cheat 16, and like people are doing quad corks and like quintuple and like all these crazy variations that like I just never like even imagined were possible. So I think it's only going to go up, especially with the variations. Because like I'm sure like a lot of people think, oh, like you can keep going with the twist, but like I personally think like quad fold is probably like gonna be like the most like the highest like consistent level twisting. Like maybe like quintuple will happen, but I don't know. Maybe I'm a little skeptical, and I'm sure like people that were skeptical in the past are being laughed at now. But like I don't see like someone like consistently doing cart quint, right? So I just think like the variations are just going to keep getting crazier and crazier with like all the high level twisting, and like Shosei is like the perfect example of that.
100%. Okay. Yeah, man, it's going to be a super interesting time to see. Hopefully we're proven wrong. Hopefully in like 5 years from now, everyone's ending combos with cart quints and stuff will be bananas. The fact that Shosei ended that triple B twist swing through combo with a quad at jam is like pretty disgusting, considering there was no run up and no room. So
it's disgusting. Like the way he triple B's, it's like what?
insane moment I will not forget. Literally shut down a gathering for like 10 minutes. It was crazy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no one could trick. Like you just, I mean, I literally couldn't trick, but like no one could do anything.
Everyone was just sharing videos and being like, "What's your angle look like?" Yeah, so crazy. Well, that's cool, man. Super, super cool. And now, obviously, this is something I always ask everyone when we get out of here. So just curious to get your take on it as well. Where do you see yourself personally 5 years from now? And then where do you see yourself 10 years from now?
Yeah, personally, 5 years from now, I like to still like be pushing my own tricks. There's still tricks that like I've wanted for a long time that like I just haven't gotten to yet. Like triple B is like one of them.
I was gonna ask if you could say them or if it puts too much pressure on you. So yeah.
Triple B is like one of those things like people have been telling me to do it for a long time, and it's gotten to a point where it's like, you know, like I'll do it when my body's ready. Like okay. I'll do it when I have the twisting down, and like I could talk for hours on why I haven't done it yet. But I do want to do it. I'm not trying to like rush it. And then like cheat 16 is also like up there. So I'd like to have those within 5 years, like those specific tricks. 5 years from now, like I'd like to still be battling, right? Like I think Will Conies is a huge inspiration of mine. Like he's been battling for so long. Like he's 30, 31 now. Mm-hmm. Sorry, Will, if I get that wrong. But he still battles at every event he goes to. He's still pushing his tricks. So I'd like to like keep doing that. And then I'd like to see Vertigo be like one of like the biggest gatherings in the world. Like I'd like within 5 years, I want international people to like be like, hey, like this is a gathering you want to go to. I want them to like fly over to the US to come to this gathering. And then outside of like tricking stuff, I like my profession. I'm a software engineer. I'd like to like, just keep working software. It does keep me busy, but it is something I really enjoy. Like even in my free time, like I like working on some stuff. So I like to like stick with that. And, like, you know, maybe own a house, maybe get a house with a pool. Like yeah.
Hell yeah, dog. No.
We'll see. And then 10 years. Honestly, like similar stuff. Maybe not battling. I like to start judging events. I like to still travel and like go to as many events as I can. But I don't really have like personal goals like for myself for 10 years from now, but I'd like tricking to be at a point where, you know, you don't have to explain what tricking is. Right. I think that's like just ultimately like with everything, like with Vertigo and like US tricking, like I want to get tricking to the point where it's like, you know, I can just like be talking to like non-trickers and like say that I trick and they'll be like, oh, that's so cool. Like I know what that is. Right. Instead of just being like, oh, like, what is that? Like, is that like parkour? Yeah. Right. That's like the most common thing people say. And yeah, I just want to, like, it doesn't have to be like the most mainstream thing, but just want people to know what tricking is. And I think in 10 years, like with the rate that like tricks have been progressing, like events have been growing, like I think it's definitely doable. Like maybe even 5 years, who knows?
Yeah. Some overall awareness of the sport would definitely help benefit everyone involved. So yeah, well, hopefully things will get to the next level, whether that's mainstream, like you said, or not. But I don't, like you said, I don't think it necessarily has to be, but just a little bit more awareness would be cool. So.
Yeah, definitely.
Hell yeah. So I feel like one of the only ways to achieve that is by, you know, continuing to throw these events like you are, continuing to push events like Vertigo and US Tricking as a collective in general. And so with that being said, can you just let people know where they can continue to stay up to date with your own personal journey as well as Vertigo?
Yeah, personal journey. Instagram is Mikael_Mantis. I do sometimes post samplers on YouTube, and I think if you just search my name, like Mikael Mantis, I don't know if I have a username on YouTube. But yeah, that's where you can find my personal stuff. And then for Vertigo, like Vertigo Tricking on Instagram. And then also there's US Tricking on Instagram that like we all like collectively work on.
Hell yeah. We'll be sure to put it all on the screen.
Thanks.
Hell yeah. Yo, guys, with that being said, please be sure to hit that like button, comment, subscribe for brand new episodes each and every week. Join us every Monday for Jam Breakdowns and every Friday for brand new JAMCast, interviewing influential members of the movement community like Mr. Mikael Mantis himself. So with that being said, guys, I got to give him one more very special shout out. Thanks for coming through, homie. I really appreciate your time.
Thank you as well. Thanks so much, Travis. It was an honor.
Same, brother, and hopefully I'll see you in October.
Yeah, hopefully.
Hell yes. And as always, guys, coming through, I'm your host, Travis Wong. Thanks for joining us here on another JAMCast. Until next time, we'll see you all soon. Peace.